Hello, welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia. I've been reading for 15 hours now. I don't know what's going on. When does the Fruit of Grisaia part of this novel start? Because I've been reading along now. You know what else? There are two more visual novels in the series. The Labyrinth of Grisaia and the Eden of Grisaia. I'm gonna go on. Now I'm gonna go on. Specifically this. Sachi has suddenly moved from her habitual seat directly in front of the teacher's podium to the desk immediately next to mine. Not that she started pressing her blubber against me, Amane style, she's just changed her seat. Not a particular dramatic event, really.
ねえユージ、これはどういうことなのか、ちゃんと私に説明して。
I'd like to hear an explanation myself, honestly, but first of all, can you stop interrogating me as if I'm an unfaithful husband? But the small change seems to have taken everyone around me by surprise, prompting general curiosity. Dude, they made two more of these after this. Oh, an interesting scenario. Where would things go from there? I don't remember making you reveal your sick and twisted mind. As Makina plunges into the heart of the matter, the other two inquisitors catch their breath in anticipation. And why exactly would she suddenly prefer this seat? Was nearly walking into a girl's bathroom together that much of a bonding experience? Oh, who would that someone be? Having grasped the nature of the question, Sachi closes her eyes in thought. Sachi simply answers the questions put to her in a steady, bland tone of voice. I was like, yes! That hasn't changed at all from the day I met her. Yeah, before I even made my move, that's a new record. There's a slight smile on Sachi's face as she speaks. I'm pretty confident she's speaking with complete honesty. I spent an entire day with her yesterday, but Sachi's thoughts are still beyond my understanding. But it seems clear that her opinion of me has undergone a subtle change of some sort.
峰さん、少しいいかしら。はい。悪いんだけど少し頼みたいことが。それより赤ちゃん言葉でペットに話しかける癖を直した方がいい。どうして小峰さんがそのことを。私、小峰さんに何かした？
It's pretty well known that rabbits can die if they get lonely enough. What does that have to do with this? You might assume that means you should be petting your bunnies at all times, but in fact, excessive contact can stress their nerves badly enough to inspire escape attempts. Moderation is the rule in our interactions with other creatures. It just brings up random things sometimes. But human beings have a hard time finding that balance even when we try. All too often, we clumsily misjudge the appropriate distance or stumble in our attempts to maintain it. Yeah, sounds bad. A crisis to be sure. A recess period, Makina pops up noisily before my eyes, then proceeds to grab at my clothes and shake me back and forth. I ward her off with one hand, paying little attention to the specific content of her squawking. Well, I assume you're just babbling. Can't say I'm sensing a whole lot of danger right now. Calm down. I can't do anything about my face. Leaving that aside, I suppose it wouldn't do to ignore a global crisis. That's a pretty dramatic drop in scale, you little punk. What? Microcosmical communities? What the heck are you even talking about?
まあ、世界やら世界はともかくとして、私たちの半径1キロ圏内において重要な事柄であることには間違いないと思うよ。
1 whole kilometer. That is still a lot. Akino is one thing, but if Amane is backing her up, I guess that this does warrant my attention.
何の話してるの？皆さんで集まってどういった要件でしょうか？
I have a feeling this is going to get out of hand if everyone jumps into the conversation. But just as I'm about to shoo away from the two late arrivals, for some reason Amane jabs out her finger in my direction and powerfully declares something or other. I'd appreciate it if you could explain what it is a little more comprehensibly than that.
だからね、そのユージの言う全員ってのがそもそもの問題なわけなのよ。
I have no idea what this woman is talking about. Does leading a normal student life require the ability to find enjoyment in this sort of vague, meaningless riddle? In that case, I've still got a ways to go. Oh, so we're talking about Sakaki. We're finally on the same page. I use the word everyone when only 5 of us are here. Amane is suggesting my unconscious exclusion of Sakaki Yumiko from the group suggests a problem in our social dynamic.
So, こうして休み時間になるとたまに姿を消し、いたとしても本を読んで他人からの干渉をシャットアウト。榊さん、それで本当にいいのって思ったわけ。
She's keeping her distance out of her own free will, so presumably this is how she wants it to be. I don't think it's necessarily something we need to worry about.
これまでそうしてきたことが逆に悪循環だったかもしれないじゃない。もっと積極的にコミュニケーションを取れば変わる可能性もあるとは思わない？
I hadn't thought of it that way, but she might be onto something. Sakaki is a human being, after all. Much as her box cutter brandishing mischief may stand out, letting those moments of hostility prejudice all of our interactions with her means giving up on all hope of mutual understanding.
あれで絶対誘い受けだぜ。構ってほしいくせに周りにチヤホヤされたら迷惑そうに被害者面すんのよさ。多分。
How did you reach that conclusion? Do you have any evidence whatsoever?
知らねえ。テンプレだとそうなってんだよ。
Okay, you can stop talking now.
そうかもしれないけど、私やっぱちょっと怖いな。何かあるとすぐにギラッとくるじゃん、氷の笑みが。はい、そうですね。特にみちる様はその笑みの対象になるケースが非常に多く、私としても心中穏やかではありません。やっぱそうなの。私狙い撃ち。ともかく市場は捨てましょう。でね、私ちょっと考えたんだけど、誰が一番榊さんと仲良くなれるかを競うってのはどうかなって。
A contest?
どんな風に？そうね、例えば手に触れたら1点とか、服とか袖を引っ張ったら3点とか。
Is it my imagination, or is this sounding increasingly fishy, also potentially dangerous?
ユミちゃんは髪の毛が綺麗で長いのよさ。
じゃあ触れただけなら1点、引っ張ったら3点、抜いたら5点でどう？切った場合は
Don't you dare.
じゃあ切ったセンチメートルかける10点でどうかしら。なかなかの高得点ね。
うひょーい。私が本気を出せばユミちゃんの頭を焼け野原みたいにするのなんてそうさもないことなのよさ。
Okay, I'm starting to get slightly concerned. Can we slow down for a second here? Are you all seriously going to do this? My voice of restraint falls on deaf ears. The rest of the group is getting more fired up by the second.
榊さんが読んでいる本を取り上げた場合はどうなるのでしょうか。それじゃあ100点。でもその本を榊さんの頭にかぶせたら1万点。逆に本に榊さんを読ませたらなんと5万点よ。すごいです。一発逆転のロマンがありますね。
Book reading, Sakaki? What does that even mean? Please explain in detail. Was it a surreal gag? Did Amane trip over her tongue in her increasingly frantic excitement? At this rate, I'll likely never know the truth. The bizarre conversation rolls forward, momentum building by the second. You'd think everyone involved was hitting the peak of a chemical-induced high. It might just be my imagination, but sometimes I think I may have found my way into a fairly deranged excuse for a learning environment. Do people actually hate Sakaki or what? The enthusiastic group of conspirators doesn't dignify my perfectly reasonable question with a response. Okay, I think Sachi is closest to her personality. Second place would probably be Amane. Tragically for Sakaki, the next recess period arrives all too quickly. Fine. Fine. Let's get this over with. To be honest, I seriously doubt this is going to get us any closer with Sakaki, but giving the game away would probably make things just as awkward in its own way. And so I've adopted the typically Japanese policy of watching passively over the situation from a safe distance. Yep. Sakaki Yumiko, the unexplored territory, the final frontier, seated at her desk, face buried in a thick book. Her body language projects a desire to be left alone. A Sulamani expedition takes the first daring step into the wilderness. Dude. Her approach appears impressively natural. Woman's something of a skilled actress, apparently. Of course, she could probably be putting that talent to better use than this, but... Sakaki can be a little friendly, right? Sakaki coolly throws out a perceptive question without bothering to look up from her book, prompting a flustered denial from Amane. I think she's having a little fun with us. I don't know. Akina tries to snatch away the book with a surprise attack, but is forcefully rebuffed by Sakaki, who's clearly in a state of heightened wariness. Akina clicks her tongue in irrepressible frustration. She's been gambling on taking the big points without opportunity, but sadly her moment has passed with nothing more than a 1 point hand touch.
榊さん、マキちゃんが急にあんなことして手をひねったりされてませんか？
だからといってわざわざあなたが手を触る必要があるのかしら。
はい、万が一のこともありますから念のために確認を。手のひらと指は大丈夫ですね。あと手首は
さすがさっちゃん、他人の失敗を自らの得点として引き込むとは。
油断ならないのよさ。
Hermione and Makina quietly muttered to each other, careful to keep out of Sakaki's earshot. The palm of Sakaki's hand and her fingers are pretty much a package deal, so all award 1 point for the pair, with the addition of the wrist. Sachi's jumped into an early lead with 2 points.
さっちゃんってば、さっきの話をしたすぐ後にそんなことしてたら榊さんに変な子みたいに思われちゃうわよ。
Yeah, she's nice.
それでどうして私をバンバン叩くのよ。
What?
あらごめんなさい、お姉ちゃん間違えてしもだわ。ねえねえ知ってる？向こうのおばちゃんってすぐこうやって人叩くねんな。そう言ってさらに叩くのやめてほしいんだけど。
Thumping equals 5 points, and she just executed a 5-hit combo. Making excellent use of her folksy can-side girl act, Amane seizes 25 points in the blink of an eye. The old lady reference also seems like a clever play, taking advantage of the difference in their ages, but expressing my admiration on this point would likely lead to new conflict. I exercise discretion and keep my trap shut. Difference in their ages. Huh.
あまね、こんな風にバンバン叩いたらユミちゃんに失礼じゃないのよさ。こんな風にねえユミちゃん。
あなたの方がよっぽど失礼よ。
Just when I thought the balance of power had shifted to Amane, Makina uses her established thoughtlessness as cover to launch a new series of attacks, quickly acquiring 40 points. Okay. But I don't think she liked it though. Keeping up with the scoring is beginning to prove challenging in its own right.
あれユミコ、制服のボタン取れてない？いや、なんでもないです。その榊さん。
Sakaki anticipates Michiru's approach and brings it to a premature halt with her powerful glare. The pseudo-tsundere looks like a potted plant under the desert sun.
確かにボタン取れてますよ。
Seizing the moment once again, Sachi deftly plucks a button from Sakaki's uniform and holds it out for inspection on the palm of her hand.
そう、ありがとう。
いえ、当然のことですから。
Sakaki's clearly dubious. In comparison, Sachi's beaming from year to year. She's got guts to launch a bold attack like that under such risky circumstances. In deference to our dauntless soul of a maid, I mentally award 50 points, bringing Sachi's total to 52. She's regained the lead in a flash.
よろしければすぐにボタンをお付けしますが。
勝手になさい。
はい、お任せください。
ちょっと服を引っ張らないでよ。
申し訳ありません。針を通すもので少しこちらに寄っていただけると。
Sachi launches a follow-up attack. Pulling on Sakaki's school uniform earns her 3 points, bringing her total to 55.
それでなぜあなたは反対側を引っ張るのよ。
のび太分、バランスよくしといた方がいいかと思ったのよさ。迷惑だったか？
はっきりと迷惑だわ。
じゃあ元に戻すな。
内側に引っ張ったって元に戻らないわよ。
Maki now adds 2 tugs for a total addition of 6 points. With a score of 46, she's hot on Sachi's heels.
あなたたち、一体何を企んでいるの
？Sakaki's not completely oblivious. By this point, she's clearly realized that she's become the group's plaything. Her voice has a dangerous edge to it.
もうそんなことないってば。せっかくの綺麗な髪に白髪ができちゃうわよ。そんなわけないでしょ。ごまかさないで。でまた触らないで。でもほら枝毛。嘘はつかないで。本当よ、ここ。
Amane seems to have discovered a genuine split end. Sakaki falters for a moment, obviously thrown off her balance. Devious as Amane may be at times, I don't think this was pointed out beforehand.
別に気にしないわ、この程度。そういうわけにはいかないでしょ。身だしなみくらいしとかないとズボラでみっともない女になっちゃうわよ。
Sakaki attempted to bury the split end in her thick hair, but Amane smoothly intercedes and takes up position behind her. Compared to the clearly unnatural interactions earlier, this is a convincingly normal development. From a neutral perspective, it would appear an action of pure goodwill and friendliness on Amane's part. Accordingly, Sakaki proves unable to offer any firm resistance. 1, 2, 3 touches of the hair. Of course, unbeknownst to her, Amane is racking up points by the second.
うまい。あまねえめ、いいポジションに入り込んだのよさ。
Having won Sakaki's trust for the moment, Amane no longer has any need to employ risky, aggressive tactics. As she slowly and steadily racks up the points, Makina and Sachi's faces grow increasingly tense with desperation.
何？本当に綺麗な髪だと思って。あ、枝毛どうしよう。抜いちゃってもいいの？あ、私枝毛切り持ってるから、私が。わかったわよ。あまねにお願いするからそんなに睨まないでよ。ありがとう、みちる。なんで私だけ。
Michiru, it is painful just to watch you. The girl's thoughts are written too plainly on her face. Especially when she's up to no good, Sakaki's going to shoot her down every time. Perhaps this will inspire her to take a good long look at herself. On the other extreme, Amane is already coasting into a leisurely victory lap. Combing through Sakaki's long hair, she snips out split ends with the scissors she borrowed from Michiru as she's racking up another 10 points. With every centimeter she harvests, she's already well into triple digits. Although Sakaki's keeping her expression blank, her reaction to Amane's fiddling with her hair appears to be something like relaxed boredom. Putting aside the points in this silly contest, it seems like they really might be getting friendlier.
Yumi-chan, 決闘しよう決闘。友情が芽生えるまで殴り合おう。
Huh? Interesting.
お断りよ。榊さん、面白そうな本をお持ちですね。よろしければ私にも見せていただけませんか？不穏だからいや。
Makia and Sachi try their best to claw back into the fight, but Sakaki's on high alert. Their hands are tied. At this point, it's no exaggeration to say the match is all but decided.
はーい、終わったわ。みちるもハサミありがとう。
Very soon, the chime heralding the end of the recess period will sound. At that moment, this battle will be concluded as well. Sitting comfortably on a commanding lead, Amane refrains from touching Sakaki's hair longer than necessary, bringing the grooming session to a natural end. Long since out of the running, Michiru seems destined to end the match with an inept 0 points. Even Makina did better than Michiru? Aww. As Amane hands over the scissors, they slip through the dejected Michiru's hands and clatter against the floor. As a side note, don't get the idea that Michiru's only careless when depressed. This sort of thing happens all the time.
Ah, ごめんごめん。大丈夫？あったあった。
Dropping down under the desk, Michiru crawls forward a bit in the direction of the group. Picking up her scissors, she immediately begins to stand up. As Michiru's head launches toward her like the world's clumsiest uppercut, Sakaki instinctively reaches out with her hands to defend herself. Of course, in those hands, she's still holding the book she's been protecting all this time. In the next instant, Sakaki's frozen in place, her book knocked violently out of her hands, now rests on top of her head. Apparently unable to process the situation, Sakaki stands perfectly still. Sakaki's face is blank with dazed confusion. The hardcover book lies open across the crown of her head like some bizarre helmet. It's a truly surreal moment. I find myself staring blankly, utterly lost for words. Makina has already burst into an explosion of tactless laughter. And Amane is trying and failing to contain her own amusement. Sachi, on the other hand, gazes with some bitterness at this truly astonishing bottom of the 9th inning. Baseball, I think. And in that moment, the bell echoes through the classroom, ending the contest. At the next recess period, we've gathered in the hallway in an attempt to avoid Sakaki's notice.
はい、というわけで優勝はユージ、発表をお願い。
I think you're all well aware already, with a final score of 10,000 points, earned by planting Sakaki's book on top of her head. Michiru is our champion! Yeah! Okay. How did that work? Okay.
なんか納得いかないのよさ。
全くです。
悲しいわね、負け犬の遠吠え。でも認めなさい。家庭はどうあれ結果が全て。運も実力のうちってね。
Huh. Well, that was weird. Michiru may have been completely nonplussed by her victory at first, but upon grasping the situation, she instantly puffed herself up like a peacock. I think it's fairly clear the girl has a lot of backup resentment.
みんなに勝つチルチルなんてチルチルじゃないのよさ。
はい、みちる様らしくありません。みちる様、バランスを取るためにも次の機会はぜひ負けてくださいませ。
そこまで言う必要ないでしょ。まあまあ、ええやんみんな。
Himani offers the group vague, soothing words in full Kansai dialect.
ところでみちる、最後のあれって狙ってたわけじゃないわよね。もちろん偶然でしょ。
Eh.
おいや、もちろん計算づくに決まってるじゃない。
Michiru's voice rings with bold confidence, judging from her stilted phrasing. It's most likely a complete lie, but the words nonetheless sound very convincing as they echo hollowly down the hallway. At that moment, everyone else freezes in pure shock. With a quick survey of our surroundings, I soon learn why. I don't miss Amane mouthing the word idiot with a slightly smug look on her face either. Her reaction to defeat is to plot revenge. It would seem quite a woman.
でもこれで本当にユミコと少しは仲良くなれたのかしら。
No, I think not. Sorry.
なんでよ。多分みちるがもう無事じゃいられないからかな。どういう意味よそれ。
わざとだったのがあれ。
With a familiar, ominous sound, the shadowy figure that snuck up behind Michiru mutters a few ice-cold words. So, if she hadn't done that, Amane would have won. The smile on Michiru's face instantly hardens into a rigid grimace. Copious streams of sweat begin to run down her forehead and along her cheeks.
どうして教えてくれなかったのよ。
Now, less aware of her plight, Michiru squeezes out a few whimpering words of reproach. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I just noticed a moment ago myself.
黙ってなさいって目で脅されててごめんね。可愛らしく言うな。つかまね。あんた分かってて私に聞いたでしょ。てへんじゃねえ。
Aww. They're kind of cute like this.
みちる様にはふさわしい終わり方でほっとしています。
ほっとすんな。一件落着なのよさ。なあ、ユミちゃんも。
分かってると思うけど、当然あなたたちも絶対に許さないから。
Fair.
ほら、ある意味仲良くなったと思わない？
You're such an optimist, Amane.
私はどうしたら？
Well, probably the same thing as the rest of us. Retreat double time.
ちょっと待ちなさいよ。
それはこっちのセリフだわ。
This day would go down as the first time in the Academy's history that all of its students were simultaneously absent from a class, but it said that no one involved dare speak the reason why. Well, I don't really know how Yumiko felt after that. Our daily habits become part of who we are. Okay. They become. Now, that goes for everything from the natural routines, like washing your face or brushing your teeth, to the obsessive rituals like always moving your left leg first when you walk. I know I don't run every single day for some conscious reason. That habit's just ingrained into my personality by this point. Doesn't matter how tired I am. Doesn't matter if it's pouring rain. Doesn't matter if the wind's blowing me all over the road. Even when I get a little sick, I'm out there running like it's a cure for the common cold. Mm. 16 kilometers every morning like clockwork. In 1 month, that's 496. In a year, 5,840. When you work it out, I'm running the distance to Singapore annually with change to spare. A pretty respectable distance if I do say so myself. Not that I'm particularly aiming to go see the Merlion or try out the famous chicken rice. My itinerary is strictly local. Every day, I make my way around the outer walls of the school, past the shuttered stores of the shopping district, and by a few poorly maintained Shinto shrines. Every day, I take in the same coastal scenery. It might sound repetitive, but I don't feel any need to change my standard course. Running a familiar road at a familiar pace makes for better training. That said, my route isn't completely set in stone. For example, if I happen to notice an acquaintance nearby, I'll sometimes head in their direction. Not that I chase people around town, of course. I just catch up and offer a brief greeting. It just seems like the polite thing to do, especially when they're a school friend of mine. This morning, as I'm following my standard marathon route around the Academy's campus, I catch sight of Matsushima Michiru. I plan to do 3 quick laps around the school before heading toward the station, but Michiru's appearance gives me pause. Even from a distance, her body language is clearly unusual. From the way she's trudging along the road with her shoulders slumped, you'd think the force of gravity is operating at double strength in her immediate vicinity. Something seems distinctly off with the girl. Then again, it's still very early in the morning, and I don't want to disturb her privacy. Probably better not to call out to her. As I make my way through the shopping district, I try to think of reasons why Michiru would leave the school at such an early hour. She's a little young to be heading to a public park for radio calisthenics, so what's her objective? When I happen to spot the girl for the second time in this one training session, my curiosity proves harder to suppress. This time, I'm running along the coast when I notice her blonde hair dead ahead. She's walking slowly up the same road, her head slightly bowed. At this rate, I'll catch her up very soon. When I overtake her, I can just say a quick hello. But Michiru abruptly turns off my route. Before I have the chance to say anything, she's vanished down a side path. Having completed my standard 16 kilometers, I return to the dorm as usual. Usually, I take a quick shower next. But the uncharacteristic melancholy I could see in Michiru even from a distance seems to have left an oddly strong impression on me. It's weighing on my mind. We're classmates, I suppose. Can't hurt to stick my nose in every once in a while. Mumbling something of an excuse to myself, I wipe the sweat from my neck with a towel, then head back outside the school grounds. Have to say, though, I don't understand people who dream about living in a house by the sea. The ocean breeze makes everything rust. The moisture makes it hard to dry your laundry. If a seaside town sounds romantic, you've probably never lived in one. Sure, you can come to love your home wherever it may be, but let me assure you, there's nothing idyllic about drunken teenagers partying on the beach for months at a time, especially given their tendency to launch fireworks at midnight. Let's see. I'm pretty sure she was headed this way. I find Michiru seated on a high ridge overlooking the sea, aimlessly gazing into the distance. I approach slowly, but she appears oblivious to my presence. I'm consciously taking loud, conspicuous steps to no apparent effect. The girl's carelessness exceeds my expectations. You know, it would be cool if I could see her with her hair down. She has pretty hair. She crumpled into herself like a load of laundry long forgotten in the hamper. More than anything else, she looks worn out, exhausted even, almost like a completely different person. I can hear the sound of waves in the distance. The sunlight is gentle this morning, the weather fair and pleasant. The location isn't bad either, but if this is an early morning picnic, she's forgotten to bring food. Michiru. The fastest way to figure out what she's doing here is probably just to ask her, but she doesn't respond to my voice. Take the pigtails off and let your hair down. What's wrong? Waiting to get picked up by the garbage truck? In that case, you've got to label yourself as oversized waist. They can't pick up bottled blondes if you just dump one on the curb, I'm afraid. Normally, a remark like this would be met by an indignant, cryptic shriek of "Muki!" as soon as it left my mouth, but today I get nothing. Just what is going on with this girl? I rapidly review and analyze Michiru's recent behavior. Okay, just what do we have here? It doesn't take long for me to reach an extremely plausible hypothesis. All the pieces fall into place. I see. So that's what's going on. Why didn't I realize sooner? Careless. Very careless. Darn. I've finally gotten a grasp on the situation, specifically the nature of Matsushima and Michiru's bodily distress. Michiru, has your dysentery taken a turn for the worse? You should have told me. Why suffer in silence? Okay, first order of business. I need to look at your stool to confirm the progression of the disease. Hurry up! Out with it! When I grab Michiru's shoulders with both hands and begin shaking her vigorously, there's finally a response. I was half convinced she fainted sitting up, but things don't seem to be quite that serious. Ah, she was relaxing there though. Why do you have to ruin it?
なんでユージがここにいるの?
Good question. Why am I here? What do you think?
わからないから聞いてるんだけど.
Michiru may have recognized my presence, but her normal bristly attitude is notable by its absence. It's not just that her armor has fallen off. It feels as though she isn't aware of her own state of vulnerability. Why am I here? That would be because I came here, therefore, here I am. Understood?
それはそうだけど、そういうことじゃなくて。
Either way, that's of little importance at the moment. Produce a stool sample at once.
何を言ってるの?
Cut the back talk, maggot. You're the one who ate contaminated food. Here I am, kindly offering to examine your stool as a favor to my classmate, and this is your attitude? Evacuate your bowels at once. This is weird.
あのね、何度言えばわかるの? 私は汚染されたものなんて食べないから。拾い食いなんてしないの。
What's that supposed to mean? Are you implying my mental picture of you is fundamentally flawed?
一応聞いておくけど、ユージの中で私ってどんな認識?
I picture you in the mountains discovering colorful toadstools. You try to shriek, "Oh my god, what's this? It's like so cute." But before the "so" is out of your mouth, you've stuffed it full of mushrooms. You're dead seconds later. Oh.
そんなことするわけないでしょ。何? 私ってそんなイメージなの?
Tell me, what kind of image do you think your acquaintances have of you?
それはいつも元気に青い鳥を探して走り回ってるツンデレミチルタン。私は本当は青い鳥を見つけたいわけじゃないんだからねって感じかしらね。
If you don't want to find one, why are you chasing it in the first place?
例えでしょ。今のはミチルのごく一部なのよ。わかる？ここはあんま言わなくていいのよ。
Sadly, I find your explanation incoherent. And that image of you lying dead in the forest with mushrooms spilling out of your mouth doesn't seem to be going anywhere. My apologies.
うるさいわね。とにかくいつも元気な私なのよ。
Certainly, my impression of Michiru up to today has been pretty similar to her description, a constantly cheerful idiot girl, but today she's got none of that usual vigor, and her tsundere act has all but disappeared. When women act differently from normal, the most likely cause is that time of the month. But we're dealing with a girl going through a difficult age. One must put these questions delicately, or it'll be awkward to answer. I lower my voice and beckon Michiru closer with my hand. Michiru.
何?
Michiru draws her face near. I put the matter to her in the most gentlemanly way I know how. Are you menstruating?
違うわよ。そういうこと耳元で小声で聞かないでしょ。
I thought it would be better than shouting, but it seems our opinions differ.
大きな声でも小さな声でも普通は女の子にそんなこと言わないでしょ。
I'm simply trying to understand the situation. Is it iron deficiency then? That won't just give you anemia, you know. Makes it easier to catch colds as well. There's no reason to stuff yourself with vitamin C like an idiot if you forget to eat anything else. You need balance, understand? Balance.
そんなんじゃないわよ。違うもん。具合が悪いとかじゃないの。
So it's not anemia, not menstruation, and not a nutritional deficiency. I'm out of ideas. What's actually going on here?
それは。
It's fine. You can give it to me straight. I've been in the field a long time, you know. You're probably not going to shock me.
それはね。
Yes. Go on. What is it?
海を見てた。
Yeah. Oh. Looking at. Say what?
海を見てたのよ。
That's what I thought you were doing. See? The tear gives a quick, embarrassed nod, her eyes downcast. Looking at the sea, I ruminate carefully on these words. Just what hidden meaning lurks inside this brief, cryptic cipher of a sentence? I know of a certain Japanese organization that refers to its maneuvering grounds as the mountains. Alright, so what would the sea indicate? Nothing comes to mind. She's just taking a run outside. Sorry, Michiru, when you say the sea, what exactly are you referring to?
海は海でしょ?
The sea is the sea, which will make looking the key word. I assumed you were indicating some sort of special surveillance mission. Was I missing some crucial context?
はい。いや、ね、単純に海を見てたよ。意味なんて何?
Excuse me? You were literally just looking at the ocean? Explain yourself. I'm baffled. You were staring at a giant saltwater puddle for no reason whatsoever?
そうよ。何か問題でもあるの?
Puddle. Of course there is. The first and biggest problem is that you don't see anything wrong with it. Listen carefully. Time is not an infinite resource. You only get so much. It's at least a pond. You don't have to say it's a puddle. That's a little too small. Our lives are brief. How to make use of the precious time we're given is an absolutely essential problem. It's one thing if you're never given the opportunity to make your own choices. Some people spend their lives following orders from others. If that's the only path open to you, then you just have to deal with it as best you can. But you, my friend, have the good fortune to be free, and you're choosing to use your time staring at the sea for no reason at all. I find that extremely hard to understand. As your classmate, I request that you produce an acceptable reason for looking at the ocean. Understood?
さ、難しく考えすぎじゃない? 綺麗だなーって思ってただ海を見てただけじゃない。それでよくない? 特別な理由がどうしても必要なの?
Can I conceive of this as a rest and relaxation period then? I don't think I can accept it unless there's some sort of concrete meaning to your actions.
じゃあそれでいいわよ。海を見てリラックスしてたのよ。
I see. I have to say, you didn't really seem to be enjoying it much.
そんなことない。
Michiru squints her eyes against the sea breeze. Her expression belies her words. This explanation seems dubious at best. But then again, I suppose it was foolish of me to expect any coherent logical basis for this woman's behavior.
風が気持ちいい。
We stand below the vivid, clear summer sky, utterly wasting our time. If things are going to continue along these lines, it'd be more productive to return to the dorm now and just read for a while. Michiru, my friend, have you considered the possibility that this abnormal desire to view the ocean is the product of some sort of bacterial infection in your brain? He's relaxing. Then perhaps there's a kappa in your family tree? No, wait, they live in rivers. Darn. What's this? Let me see your head for a second. Shut your mouth and present me a cranium. Don't give me any trouble.
だってその、もしかして頭にお皿
Some of these just have really weird dialogue. I pull Michiru's head toward me and quickly pluck out a single hair among her mass of thoroughly bleached blonde locks. There was a single pure black strand. What, did the Kappa ancestor ring any bells? Not to worry though, nothing's broken. I just pulled out a black hair for you. Kind of stands out when it's surrounded by a sea of blonde. Oh, black hair. Is that her natural hair color? No matter how much effort you put in, you're probably going to miss a few hairs like this unless you have someone else take a look for you. You've got some cucumber bits around your mouth, by the way.
ああ、そんな冗談ばっかり言ってないで。ユージも見てみなよ、海を。
I'll pass. Why bother looking at it? It's the same as it was yesterday. I think the ocean will get along just fine even if I don't sit around staring at it. It could either be she has one hair color and changes it to yellow, or it could just be that she has yellow and the bleach just makes it a brighter yellow. I give in to her pestering and stare out at the ocean. As expected, there have been no dramatic developments since the last time I saw it.
なんかさ、海って大きいよね。
The sea may be the same as always, but Michiru is clearly different today. The tone of her voice is strange. True enough, 70% of the Earth is covered in oceans. Huge is a relative concept, but I think this would qualify by the more typical standards of comparison.
そんな風に言うと思ったんだ。面白いね。
Michiru laughs inexplicably amused by my simple statement of fact, but in the next moment that unusually serious expression is back on her face.
あのね、私こう思うんだ。この海に比べたら人間ってちっぽけな存在だよね。この大きな海を見てると、私の悩みなんてちーっとけすぎて笑えてきちゃうんじゃないかなーってそう思うの。
Michiru brazenly fires off a set of lines you can normally only hear the likes of in the corniest of decades old, made for TV teenage drama fest. If she's not intentionally excluding something that is about as hackneyed and cliche as, I don't know. Doesn't show it.
結構いいこと言ったんじゃね？
What's more, she's not remotely sheepish or about her trite words. Fascinating. Maybe I'll take a look inside her head and see how the machinery works. She's clearly got a few screws loose already, so it should pop open easily enough. Yeah, maybe it was. But in the end, I decide to affirm her statement. It's a fact that humans are only one part of the greater whole of nature. It might be cliche to reflect on the transitory nature of our existence, but that doesn't make it any less valid. A statement. I'm seeing a lot of these that are just too long for the box.
いいこと言ったよね。ごほん、私の
Yours. That doesn't need. You need to repeat it. Once was plenty.
何よ、もう言わせてよね。私の悩みなんてちっぽけなものよね。
Cheers clearly gotten carried away. It might have been a mistake to give her ego a boost like that. In the end, she's nothing more than an idiot. Can't have her getting too satisfied with herself. Too exasperated even to sigh, I send Michiru an expressive glare. Not that I'm confident she'll be able to see the cold pity in my eyes.
ちょっと何見てるの？何なんでもない
Nothing
の
at
見る
all.
とか意味わか
Oh, it looks like the girl had a sudden flash of insight. Perhaps she's finally become aware of her own foolishness.
そういう意味じゃないからね。ちっぽけな悩みってそういうことじゃないもん。
As Michiru babbles on, she moves her arms to hide her tiny chest from view. Look, Maggot, I have no interest in your pitiful excuse for Iraq.
何よ、見てたじゃない。チームで見てたでしょ。それに私別におおむねちっぽけじゃないもん。あるもん。
Nice body is a term we might use to describe, say, Amane. By any reasonable standard, your breasts are tragically underdeveloped. My condolences. Whatever you think, man.
ちょっとなんだよ。残念じゃないよ。全然残念じゃないもん。マキナの方があれだもん。
That girl's in a whole different category. Are you really happy about beating a complete outlier?
嬉しくちょっと嬉しい。
The corners of Michiru's mouth rise ever so slightly, probably recalling Makina's washboard of a chest and mentally comparing it to her own. What a petty human being. Have you no pride, woman? You might as well gloat about handling your chopsticks better than some tourists from France.
ぶっちゃうね。私おおむね大きいもん。大きいんだってば。大きいって言いなさいよね。
They're big.
ミチル様のお胸はとっても大きいですって言いなさいよ。
Chihiro-sama's breasts are very large indeed.
なんかムカつく。
Apparently my complete lack of sincerity got across to you, but anyway, it sounds like you've cheered up a little.
だから最初から元気だって言ってるでしょ。私はいつも私なの。
The black cat from the other day appears from somewhere or other, purring loudly. It sidles up to Michiru and aggressively rubs up against her leg. I see, so you were searching for a black cat rather than a bluebird.
そういうわけじゃないんだからね。たまたまですよ。っていうか、この猫初めて見るな。へえ、こんなところに猫がいるとはね。奇遇だなにゃ。奇遇。
What was this cat's name again? Something like...
名前なんてないんじゃない？知らないな。
That's right, it's Rommel.
猫にゃです。なんてよね、そんな変な名前でこの子のこと呼ぶの。あ。
Just as I thought, it's the same animal that was at the school before, isn't it? Didn't know it was your pet.
だから違います。こんな猫知らないもん。
What? Rommel isn't an acquaintance of yours?
だから猫にゃだって言ってるね。知らんな。
You dropped something, allow me.
いいです、拾わんといて。
A carton of milk, eh? That's a bit unexpected.
私が牛乳大好きなの知らなかった？確かにみんなの前では一度も飲んだことないけど、大好きでいつも飲んでるのよ。みんなの前では一瞬たりともそんな素振り見せたことはないけどね。
I see. That's good to hear. By any chance you've been giving milk to the cat, I would have had to stop you.
なんで？
No worries. Since you're the one drinking it, there's no problem. Enjoy.
これは私のだから問題ないのよね。でもなんで？ねえ、教えなさいよね。
Alright, let me break it down for you. Giving a cat milk can upset its stomach badly. If you're that desperate to give it some, you need to dilute the milk with water first.
別にどうしても与えたいわけじゃないもん。
As soon as the words are out of her mouth, Michiru's glancing across swiftly around the area. What's wrong? Looking for a source of water by any chance?
違います。水は探していません。なんでもないの、バカ。
The black cat wraps itself around Michiru's leg like a fuzzy boa constrictor and starts to rub the corner of his jaw roughly against her ankle. Looks like it's trying to mark her with its scent. Seems like you've pretty much tamed the animal. One could almost get the mistaken impression that he's begging for the milk you always give him.
そんなことないです。猫にゃ。このどこの馬の骨ともわからぬ猫。つまり馬猫は懐いてきてません。
You sure about that? Rommel seems awfully...
だから猫にゃ。いや、馬です。この猫は馬です。
No, it isn't. It's clearly a cat.
そんなのわかってるわよ。
Apparently giving up on its request for milk, a feline in question sinks to the ground at Michiru's feet and rolls itself up into a ball. Within seconds, it closes its eyes and falls fast asleep. You must have been feeding this thing for quite a while for it to trust you this much.
うるさいわね。別に頻繁に通って餌付けなんてしてないんだからね。これは赤の他人の猫の馬なのよ。つまり赤い馬なの。だから最終的には石飛馬ってことなの。
Could you please try to calm down a bit? You have a bad habit of firing off unintelligible gibberish when you get worked up.
じゃあ馬を撫でて落ち着きます。
Michiru reaches down and scratches the neck of the defenseless cat with the tip of her fingers. The animal moves its head in time with their strokes in evident pleasure, then begins to look at the pink pads on its paws. The cat seems so completely and blissfully relaxed that I half expected to melt into a contented puddle. Just watching it, I can feel some of the stiffness in my shoulders begin to lighten. It's not good to carelessly let your guard down, but keeping up a state of constant tension is an even worse idea. After a brief glance around the area, I decided to take a moment of rest. Alright, I think I'll join him down there for a while. I drop myself to the ground next to Michiru. Flustered, she grabs at her skirt and holds it close, preventing any potential visual access to the interior. Don't be an idiot. Don't have any ulterior motive. You worry about the stupidest things.
下心がなくても見えたら困るでしょ。
Like what? A bit of cloth? Nothing worth worrying about. Michiru is apparently worried about disturbing the cat now slumbering at her feet, as she's avoiding any large movements. Either way, I truly don't have any secret plans involving her underwear. I just wanted to sprawl out on the grass and think about nothing at all for a while. It's been a long time since I've laid myself down on the ground and gazed blankly up into the sky like this. Every once in a while I do spend time gazing at the clouds, sometimes gazing at the clouds, but I tend to be thinking things over while I do so. But as Michiru says, just looking for no particular reason isn't bad in its own way. The vault of blue above me hasn't changed. It looks just as it did when I was a child. I thought the clouds might seem a little closer by now, but naturally they're the same as they've always been. My perspective may be a meter or so higher when I stand, but that's completely insignificant on this scale. I can stretch my hand up all I want, but it'll never reach the clouds. We're all but chained to the dirt beneath our feet. I see. Not a bad view. Michiru begins to speak, her tone somewhat troubled.
私は空はちょっと怖いんだ。特に夜の空。月が浮かんでいるのを見てると、それが月じゃなくて大きな穴に見えてくるの。空はすんごくでっかい蓋で、そこにある空気穴が月。そう考えると、箱の中に閉じ込められた気になって息苦しくなる。
I've heard of people who get disturbed by the way the moon always seems to follow you around, but the world as a giant boxing goal is new to me.
私にはそう見えるの。だから 夜は空を見上げない。怖くなるし寂しくなる。私が私じゃないみたいになる。
I think I understand. You don't look at the night sky in order to prevent yourself from transforming into a wolf, right? I imagine that would be troublesome.
いっそその方が気が楽だわ。狼でもドラキュラでも構わない。銀の銃弾で撃ち抜いてほしい。狙うのはあ、ごめんね、猫に。お腹空いたのかな。それでも眠いのかな。
Well, this weather really does make you want to take a siesta. That said, I haven't even eaten breakfast yet, so the timing is a bit off. That was a perfect pun.
変なこと言うけど変に思わないでね。
No worries on that front. I've had you down as exceptionally weird for a long time now.
あのさ、人って死んだらどうなるの？待って、起き上がらないで。そのまま寝転がって聞いて。たわいもない話として。
If possible, I'd like to talk about this whole while observing her face, but if Michiru-sama desires otherwise, I can do naught but obey. I ease myself back onto the grass and listen to her voice.
例えばドラキュラは太陽の光で灰になって消えておしまいでしょ。だったら人間
She's one of the more interesting girls,
死
really.
んだらどうなるの？
Are we talking about religious ideology here? You want to hear something about a final moral judgment?
そういうんじゃない。もっと普通に死んだらどうなっちゃうの？
Let's see, I haven't died yet, so I can't speak with much authority, but probably nothing.
何もないってどういう状態？
If you're imagining floating naked in a pure white space, I think you're slightly off. The way I picture it, it's just like going to sleep and then never waking up again.
そっか。眠って起きないのか。
Everyone else will probably be running around worrying about the funeral, but what do you care? Of course, people die in many different ways, but in the end, we're all taking a never-ending nap.
そっか。そうなんだ。意外と楽なのかもね。
Depends on how you look at it. Anyway, heaven and hell are just the remnants of an archaic moral system. Nobody really takes that stuff seriously anymore. Don't see many people going around walking on water or making magical wine out of it. Of course, it seems God does appear before the chosen few every once in a while, most often to tell them they need to start up a political campaign. Michiru begins to ask something, but stops before the words leave her mouth. After a moment of silence, she starts to speak again. I can't tell whether it's the continuation of her dangling sentence or a completely new topic.
もし私が死んだらここに埋めてほしい。
Getting a bit of ahead of yourself there, or do you plan to die anytime soon?
ないよ。ないけど、もしもの話。だってここは景色がすごく綺麗じゃない？ここから世界中が見渡せそうだもん。こんな場所で眠れるんだったら幸せ。
Okay. Cool. To be honest, I'm a little displeased to hear a perfectly healthy person scouting out locations for their tomb.
そう固いこと言わないの。ねえ、その大役をユージに任せてあげる。ここにお墓作って。
You want me to dig a hole and bury you in it? Look, you can't just go making a grave wherever you please. Do you understand that?
いいの。細かいことはいいからそうしなさい。
Cat's eyes shoot open at the sound of Michiru's shout. Startled, it bounds away like a spring, vanishing in the blink of an eye. I slowly raise my upper body off the ground, brushing off the grass, clinging to my clothes.
まったく、あんたにはマロンがないのよ、マロンが。
Why are we talking about lettuce?
栗の話なんてしてないでしょ。いいよ、ふざけてんの？猫にはもう逃げちゃったし。まあ、栗とか言うからお腹空いちゃったじゃない。さあ、これじゃあ朝ごはんでも食べに行くわよ。そこのあんた、私が一緒に食べてあげてもいいわよ。
Michiru's expression has returned to the norm. It's as though the conversation just now never happened. Well, if you're hungry, I guess I can split my beans with you.
相変わらず貧相な食生活してるわね。
Says the girl who's always filling up on convenience store box lunches packed full of preservatives.
だよね。それじゃあ今からどっちが先に学校戻るか競争負けたらジュースとかおごれるよいだ。
Our little conversation about death took me by surprise, honestly. Not what you'd expect from a random chat with your classmate, but life is always shadowed by death. The only question is whether you're aware of its presence by your side. Oh, they even have the little C animated too. Sometimes a man who looked perfectly healthy in the morning goes to sleep and never opens his eyes again. Death can come at any time, and once it does, it's too late to regret the things you've left undone. Morbidity isn't productive, but sometimes we should remember that nothing lasts forever. Michiru's words might be significant in their way. Michiru calls me from some distance away. Carefree girl. I'll catch up to her in seconds if that's the extent of her head start. I began to walk slowly, trying to decide what sort of drink I'll have her buy me. Look, you should stick to moving in pairs. You better know what you're doing if you want to work alone. I'm quoting Professional Detective, but the words are generally applicable. When you're telling someone, a pair is less conspicuous than a single shadow. Of course, that can change depending on the circumstances. In most cases, though, one stone-faced guy glaring at your back is going to inspire more caution than two idiots who happen to be following the same road. Even the best international agents usually use a male and female pair. A single tail isn't unheard of, but it demands significantly greater skill and experience. A major part of the challenge is that some people are simply more wary than others. As we've just seen, your target may turn and look behind them at completely unpredictable moments. which means that when you're shadowing someone, especially soul, perception and anticipation are the most crucial elements of success. Yeah. What? Okay. That's nice. We also have some time with Michiru there. Fun. Bye.